the Zach kind of gate edit, like, I don't think this edit that he's getting is cute from production. It's not cute at all. In fact, it's giving Colton Underwood. And if you know, you know. Good morning, everybody. Here to talk about last night's Love Island USA episode, an episode that left me irritated with a lot of different people. I guess it was a better episode when Melanie is not even in the top 5 people that irritated me. And I might have some positive things to say about people I haven't said anything positive about yet. But yeah, we've reached the point in the season where many start to irritate me, making me once again happy that I am doing the thing where I am giving 2 weeks before I really, get to know the cast and really start rooting for any of them. And before we get started, let me say that if you are one of those people that thought Sol was getting bullied in the villa, well, you're not going to like this video, because I don't have one positive thing to say about her. And the only person I might bully more today is fake Zach and his shaved legs, but we will get to that mess in a while. Let me actually start on a positive note, and it will be a positive note for someone I haven't been positive about yet. For several episodes, I've been nothing but negative about Corbin, because he has been one note with everyone and people on the outside referring to him as AI, but he actually showed some personality in this episode, and dare I say, he actually seemed human for once. He lost Kenzie in the recoupling because of the fan vote. Now she's with Caleb, and Kenzie told Caleb that she thought America's vote made sense because they have a lot in common, two country folk. However, I do feel like Kenzie is already giving excuses to Caleb, being like, I've never dated someone younger before. He's like a year, maybe a little more younger than Kenzie, or less than a year younger than Kenzie. But Kenzie was saying that night in bed that she's comforted by his voice, but she wasn't comforted with his finger like she was with Corbin. And she was definitely missing Corbin's more sexual energy in bed, as we would learn the next morning, which I'll get to, but I want to set the stage for everything else happening with some of these messy people. Sincere continued to be his lying, messy self, anything but sincere, and now he's with Sol, and he looked pretty wrecked after the recoupling, not exactly happy. Sol, meanwhile, more happy, saying she no longer has to walk on eggshells, aka no more walking around like the side chick that she was being. And she immediately started wanting Sincere to take her breakfast order. This guy, he don't even know how to make scrambled eggs. That's like the easiest egg to make. I mean, if Sincere can't even make scrambled eggs, I'm just worried for his thought process the rest of this game. But anyway, Miss Not So Bullied Sol was certainly no longer trying to be the victim anymore in this episode, which we will get to shortly. But with Two-Face Sincere again, he was giving Sol compliments, but then Sincere tells Aniya and Trinity that he wishes it was Melanie that he was still coupled up with. But he was just going back and forth. He was doing his typical lying, telling Sol one thing, telling other people another. Usually it's telling Sol one thing, telling Melanie another. This time he's telling Trinity and Aniya lies, or telling Sol lies, or both. I do also want to point out that Melanie and Sol hugged it out after all of this debating for the past few days, that Melanie must have been the one leading a hate train against Sol. But all Melanie wanted to know was if they kissed again today before the recoupling, and Sol says yes, and that led to Melanie crying again, and Melanie realizing that Sincere just keeps lying to her. I would like to think that it would wake up side chick Sol that Sincere's been lying to her stupid ass too, but I don't know if it does. So Melanie ended up not sleeping with Corbin that night. She slept outside. And the next day, Melanie is talking about how Sincere is a liar. But KC is telling Corbin that Melanie just slept outside for attention, to get Sincere's attention, and that Sincere gives a little of a fuck, but he really doesn't give a fuck. which is blatantly true. I do think Melanie slept outside for attention. She's saying that she did it because she couldn't look at Sincere and Soul in bed together, and she didn't want to sleep next to Corbin for Kenzie's sake. I can't tell if Melanie is just being dramatic for her own self or just doing it to continue to stay the biggest attention wanter in the whole villa. But Melanie later had to watch her new couple, Corbin, chatted up with Kenzie, and Kenzie telling him that she's still struggling to be in the zone with Caleb because she's still thinking about Corbin. This has been everything Kenzie's been saying for multiple episodes now. They decided on no kisses, allegedly. I think Kenzie was trying to play hard to get, and we all know Corbin likes to ask for kisses. But yeah, Melanie watched them go upstairs, and once they were upstairs, Kenzie and Corbin laying together, and he started kissing her shoulder, and it led to lots of making out. And Kenzie clearly missed him in bed the night before. But dare I say I kind of like Corbin and Kenzie together. Kenzie and Melanie did have a talk, and Kenzie told Melanie about her strong feelings for Corbin. This is when Melanie said that she didn't want to sleep with him that night, so she didn't have to see Sincere and Soul, and Kenzie didn't have to watch her. And Corbin, Melanie still spiraling over Sincere here. I think Melanie should ask Zach for advice on how to deal with your man with someone else. Like Zach has to deal with Bryce with someone else, and it's been bothering him for days, which I guess means we should move on to that fake ass bitch, Zach and Kayda, because in this episode, Zach was his usual weirdo fake self. Like, if he and his brother Charlie planned out scamming and game playing, you'd think Zach would be smarter to not be so blatant about it, and that would have been discussed, because Zach is clearly playing games from jump, and it's so blatant. Like, Zach scamming this season is so blatant, and I have seen people call him a production plant, and it does seem that way. In this episode, Zach doesn't want to do too much with Kayda in bed at the beginning. Kayda later asking him why, and he's saying because if someone else comes in after we've done a lot, it could be more hurt feelings. I don't know what his actual MO here was. I don't know if he was trying to just get out of sleeping with Kayda. Maybe, not wanting to do it in the bedroom with everyone else. Or maybe it's because he wants to do it with Bryce. But either way, it felt as manipulative as ever with Zach. Everything with Zach feels like not real. It feels very premeditated. And I'm just losing any interest in watching Kayda, and it sucks because her first few episodes was great television, but now I gotta listen to her say her feelings for Zach are growing every day. I'm kind of over Kayda. I fear she has lost her personality with Zach, and the rest of this episode, she spent her time just agreeing with whatever Zach said. It's weak behavior, and I'm not fond of it. We'll maybe get into it a little more, because I do have more to touch upon. I don't really feel like touching upon Gabe and Jen too much. Gabe is saying it's not his fault Bea is gone. But it is. He was the one kissing both bombshells and then kissing Jen up this next day. There's no real connection here. They're a waste of time and a waste of space. I'm glad Trinity dragged Gabe when she and Kayda were watching him. I mean, it's so obviously disingenuous. And yeah, Bea is gone. He has to move on. But we're supposed to believe that Gabe is moving on into a stronger connection with Jen the very next day. It's just Gabe with his usual kissing forward bullshit. And I don't buy any of it. Even though in the challenge, they went all in. But this is Gabe we're talking about. Like, he's just there to smooch. And it's literally impossible to take his connections seriously. KC and Aniya in this episode, I mean, they finally had more of an edit. We're going to get more into their drama in a while. But Soul did talk to KC at the beginning, talking about how only Sincere was open to talk to her, and she did want to talk to KC. He said it would take a lot for, another woman to turn him away from Aniya in this conversation. KC then said, however, that he was interested when she came in, but she was always with Sincere, which is kind of true. But again, Aniya will get a lot of hate after this episode, but we're supposed to baby KC, who is saying out of his own mouth the reason he didn't pursue Soul is because she was always with Sincere, which is true. But obviously KC does not want to shake the boat, because why shake the boat with Aniya just to have a competition with Sincere over Soul? Also, Soul's supposed to come in as a bombshell. You know, she's supposed to pull people herself. That's what bombshells fucking do. I don't like Soul. I don't like Soul, and the more we go in this review, I'm going to have a lot of shit to say about her. So any people in their feelings about Soul, you might as well just close out this video now. Aniya, meanwhile, talking about how she feels safe with KC, talking to Melanie about this, and when she and KC had a conversation, they talked about sex. She hasn't had sex for a year. He had sex on his birthday, saying it was 6 or 7 months before that without fucking. So they're having conversations about sex. I liked KC and Aniya in the challenge as well. Like, if I had to rank people who actually had chemistry in the challenge, I do rank KC and Aniya up there. And I mean, Gabe was good. Gabe goes all in. Most of the other couples were you know, Corbin and Melanie gave it a good try. Bryce and Trinity did too. That's about it for me. Obviously, the messiness in the challenge. Let's see. Trinity and Bryce chose Caleb as the player carrying their couple. I would like that to be a wake-up call to Caleb to maybe try and talk to other people, but we'll see. Aniya and KC chose Corbin as the player scouting other options. He's clearly been scouting since the minute he got into the house. Melanie and Corbin chose Sincere as the most overrated player, which actually is a good choice. Gabe and Jen chose Sincere as the player caught offside the most, also real. Soul and Sincere chose Bryce as the one most likely to get booted by the fans. Not exactly sure why that was chosen. But Zach and Kayda are the ones that kind of stirred up things. First of all, Zach eating his sausage way too fast. Definitely one of the guys best at deep throating it. And the edit is petty. Like, I don't know how we're supposed to not do commentary on Zach being weird with Bryce when this entire challenge, when Zach is taking down sausages, they're cutting to Bryce. But Zach stirred up some drama with the question of the player acting like they already won the league. He chose KC. He talked about how KC doesn't explore, didn't go for Soul because he didn't want the hassle. My question is, who has Zach actually really explored in this house besides Kayda and talking to Jen about Taylor Swift and BTS or whoever the fuck he was talking about doesn't count. And Kayda has never explored. Kayda has never explored. We have seen Kayda explore the least out of anyone. She had only 2 guys to choose from in the beginning, Bryce and Zach. That's all she's really talked to. Even in the background, Aniya gets all this shit. She doesn't explore. Sean posted a picture of them one-on-one that didn't air in an episode. So they had a conversation. But we also always see Aniya and Caleb together in the background one-on-one. We don't really see that with Kayda at all with other guys. So I don't hear the kind of whining about Kayda not exploring when it comes to like the same whining I gotta hear about Aniya and KC. Trinity was great in this episode per usual, later calling out Zach and Kayda to their faces that they also fit that category, and that's who she would have picked. I'd like to think that Trinity is getting the bad vibes from Zach that Zach is sending out to Trinity, or maybe just starting to clock that Zach is scheming and scamming. I hope that for Trinity. She's already probably my favorite. I'm going to try and do my first rankings of the season on Thursday if I got the time. And it's probably going to be hard to top Trinity right now because everybody else is kind of getting on my damn nerves. So after this, Zach and Kayda were whining that Aniya is mad at them, even though Kayda was saying it wasn't a dig at her. And KC is talking to Aniya about this, also saying that that category describes Kayda and Zach, because it does. Then KC kept saying out of his very own mouth that he isn't going to force himself to do something he doesn't want to do. Just want to point that out. That's what came out of his own mouth, both with Aniya and in confessional. He said something similar after this. Aniya saying she doesn't want to hinder his experience. That's what she's saying anyway. Her actions a little later in the episode, maybe not truthful, but Aniya then talked to Zach and Kayda about it. They gave their explanation, saying that Casey says, why would he risk it with Soul when he has Aniya? Zach saying that Casey never said he wanted to explore someone else necessarily, but that he did have interest in Soul and just didn't go for it. So Casey and Soul had a conversation. This is what I have to point out about Soul. Soul said, out of her very own mouth, that she was feeling everyone's energy and wasn't going to ask for anyone's energy, aka shutting herself out, away from everyone. In Soul's own words, everyone crying about her allegedly being shunned. She was probably feeling tense energy, yes, but she was running from it herself. Soul is a super defensive person, and she does not have this open personality to get along with people. So do I think that there was icy feelings towards her? Sure. But do I think that everyone was just completely unwelcoming? No, I don't. I think Soul has a vibe to her that is so fucking blah. She has to give that energy back too. She also has to be open to making connections with the girls and other guys, especially with the other guys coming in as a bombshell, because she was complaining again that Casey, needed to be the one to pursue her. Well, coming in as a bombshell, that's quite literally her job. And I hate that I have to sit here and tell people in my comments that a bombshell is quite literally a villain at first. Not necessarily to the audience, but to the people in the villa. Yeah, they're coming in to break up other couples. So yeah, couples are not going to like that at first. And yeah, some fans are going to see them as villains too at first. Can they grow into being likable? Yes, of course. But when they first come into the villa, they are quite literally cast as homewreckers. Like, that is their job. So I just don't understand how the audience acts so shocked when the first impressions of the bombshell might not be good, especially when that bombshell is so fucking blah when she's defensive with other people's energy. And then all that crying she was doing, talking about, I hate this villa, I'm over this villa. Soul was acting like she had it so hard when the two bombshells that came in with her, Jen and Caleb, are dealing with the same exact cast and the same tight couples. And they get to watch the show before they come in. She knew what she was getting into with Melanie. I don't buy this victim crying act. People were already trying to start in a Maya-like pity party, and I'm not having it. And now here, she is more than happy to get into drama again with another couple, with KC and Aniya, just after crying about how she hated the villa because of the drama with the last one. She is a fake hoe. And I do think Casey is attracted to her. And I also think Casey knows he has a good thing with Aniya. I thought their talk was more awkward than good, though, because Casey's pretty corny and he seemed very nervous the entire time. But another problem, Soul has no personality. And she has that fucking Los Angeles vocal fry that I can't stand sometimes. As someone who lived in LA for 4 years, there are all of these personality-less losers with the same exact voice. And it's why the dating scene in LA is abysmal. It's all I heard when I lived in LA is how bad the dating scene is. But it might fit Casey. He's also from California. He might be more into that than you would think. But Soul told KC he was robbing himself, not shooting his shot. And that's when Aniya came and interrupted them to have a serious conversation with him. I do think Aniya interrupting him is not the best thing from her after someone saying she doesn't want to hinder his experience. But she says that she doesn't want to feel like a safe option. He's saying he didn't pursue Soul because of Sincere. At least that's what he's saying to Soul. But Casey is telling Aniya that if he wanted to explore Soul, he would have. Casey says that Aniya is his first option. but I felt like KC likes to withhold the truth because that's what he was doing here again. He didn't tell her the first time that Sol looked like his ex. Now he was making comments to Sol about her red ass because of the red paint when she came in the first night. He definitely keeps these truths from Aniya. It's like a little baby version of Sincere's gaslighting. So I'm sure there's probably all this talk that Aniya is keeping KC from exploring. And I do once again want to reiterate that Sean and Aniya did have a one-on-one that they did not air in the episodes. So that's very convenient of the show, of course. But I will say that Aniya breaking up their talk was some territorial stuff for sure. And Aniya, in my opinion, needs to start kissing other guys in challenges because it's so early still. She should not be this closed off this damn early. However, KC keeps telling Aniya he doesn't want to explore. This is now the second episode he's told this to Aniya that he doesn't really want to explore. So why are people babying this guy? He is old enough to make his own decisions. I'm tired of the narrative that Aniya is keeping him from exploring when out of his own mouth he's telling her he doesn't want to explore. And you could say he's doing that to calm her feelings or whatever. And KC can say he hasn't given Aniya a reason to doubt him, but that's only because she doesn't know all of the things he's actually doing. He's withholding truth from her. And if she's feeling like there's some lies there, that's not exactly giving you a reason to doubt. Lying is not great consoling, in my opinion. I know that might be a little too logical for people, but that's the truth. Because he withheld the fact that Sol looked like his ex, allegedly. And because I've seen the ex and she doesn't. And now he's making comments to Sol about red ass cheeks and telling Sol that he only didn't pursue her because she was always with Sincere. But then he's telling Aniya that he never wanted to explore Sol because Aniya is his first choice. There is some Sincere-like qualities there. Let's tell these two women two different things so that I can try to have something with both of them. So yeah, KC does give her summary assurance, but he keeps the full truth from her. It's not completely helpful. I know just yesterday I was asking for KC to have more airtime, but I don't know if this airtime was great for him. Anyway, Zach is still acting like he started World War III. Now he's trying to play the victim for his, speaking his truths, allegedly, when he really just likes to try and come for other strong couples. But then we had to watch Zach and Kayda get the hideaway, only for Zach to seem fake again. Go back and watch Zach learning that he and Kayda got the hideaway and watch Zach's bad acting with excitement. Like, as someone who covers soap operas and sees some young green actors, this was as fake as it gets from Zach. That was some fake excitement if I've ever seen it. And then he needed Bryce to oil him up and help him work out as foreplay before going to fuck Kayda. Once again, Zach's edit is weird, but this is the thing I want to say. The Zach kind of gay edit, like, I don't want to harp on it too much because I don't want to come off as homophobic, but if this was like a gay dating show, I'd be watching it because it would be mess, and that would be why Zach was casted, because he wants dick. But I don't think this edit that he's getting is cute from production. It's not cute at all. In fact, it's giving Colton Underwood. And if you know, you know. And that's a dangerous position to put a woman in on a dating show after what Colton did, being gay, but going on a dating show to date women. And then the woman he's dating, he's stalking and harassing. Have we not learned from that? Obviously not, because Peacock casted Colton earlier this year on another show. It's not cute, and it's not a good pattern. Anyway, outside of Bryce being Zach's fluffer in this episode, I didn't take much notes on him. He's still in the doghouse with me, though, overall. The last notes I have on this love hexagon of Corbin, Melanie, Kenzie, Caleb, Sincere, Sol is Corbin telling Melanie he shared a kiss with Kenzie. Caleb has concerns with Kenzie where Corbin is after she told him that they kissed too, but Caleb and Kenzie shared a kiss. I don't think Kenzie is attracted to Caleb. That is still where I stand on that. Melanie's telling Corbin she feels much calmer with him, where it's chaos with Sincere, although I still feel like she's in that phase in her life when she needs that chaos and energy that's unhealthy. But like I said earlier, Corbin was at least human in this episode, and Melanie got to know him more. She doesn't feel chaotic with him. I still like Corbin more with Kenzie, though. And then Melanie's talking about how she doesn't want to be in another love triangle now with Kenzie, but it's probable. And Corbin and Kenzie have far more sexual tension, though I can't really decipher if Corbin is into Kenzie for real, or that's just who he thinks he can get to sleep with him. I do still think that's a possibility because of the way Corbin has acted from jump. Is he just going to get Kenzie to sleep with him and then drop her and move on? Corbin seems like the type, but he was more human in this episode, and that's more positive than I can say for a lot of people in this episode.